Baba.
뭐야, 소독해? 창문 닫아.
나도 봐. 공짜로 집안에 소독도 하고.
Hey, you kind of look like those people. Shouldn't the movie be higher on your list? Nah, that's racist. Parasite. Parasite is number 5 on my list, not because I don't think it's a perfect movie in every single way. By the way, this movie is perfect in every single way. It's perfectly paced, it's perfectly acted, it's perfectly shot. The story is unique, and it has deep themes that are not preachy or showy. There's metaphors in this movie that are unanswered, but they don't feel thrown in because the director wanted to add some depth to it. They feel like they're there and appropriate to make us think about what our definitions of metaphors and meaning is. That was a really weird way to just say he puts things in the movie that you should think about more than just what's surface level. I just take things and I'll just stretch the shit out of them. So apologies for that. But this movie is perfect on every single level. It's perfectly crafted. Why is it number 5? Because I don't know. Because I thought these 4 other movies were just that much better, or that much more of my favorite. You know what I mean? Like, I love Cheetos, I love Doritos, I love Pringles, but damn it, if you haven't had Hawaiian Luau barbecue, I mean, what are you doing, right? You know, what have you been doing your whole life? It's my favorite chip. But then, no, it's not. Ketchup chips, Old Dutch. I'm sorry, Luau barbecue. I just had an epiphany in this video that I like ketchup chips more than I like Luau barbecue. That's... Whoa, guys, you just witnessed a moment. Sorry. Woof. Yeah. Old Dutch ketchup chips, they're my favorite. Anyways, guys, what was I saying? So basically, you have favorites, right? You love all of them, and you're always in the mood for all of them. But there's just some that you like more. In Parasite, Cheetos, hot Cheetos, they're perfect. But sometimes, you just want Old Dutch ketchup chips just a little bit more. And that's life for you. You know, everyone has a favorite kid. Don't say you don't. Don't lie to me like that. We all know who's your favorite, by the way. Yeah. Parasite is a fantastic movie starring Korean people, and it's a huge moment for Korean new wave cinema because it's being recognized everywhere. You can't turn a corner without seeing it. I think the moment that I knew that this movie was doing really well was when I saw Instagram ads after Facebook ads for this movie. And I've never seen so much press and so much media push from a Korean film ever. And there's a lot of great movies that came out from this director. I know this director is known for Memories of Murder, Okja, other things like that, but I've never seen the media push that this movie has gotten. And I think it's probably because it won one of the highest ranking awards, the Palme d'Or, and that probably got a lot of buzz due to that, or maybe there's a lot of buzz prior. I don't know the timeline, but this movie is very important for Korean cinema. It's very important for Koreans and Korean Americans to be recognized at this level of achievement. And if it doesn't win the Oscar, it doesn't win the Oscar, but if it does, I think it's perfectly well deserved. The mystery behind it and the premise itself is just kind of left up to your imagination to fill in prior to going into the movie. And so what I did is I didn't watch any of the trailers. I know that the Instagram ads were kind of hinting at what the movie's about, but I literally thought it was about a parasite because that's my dumb brain and that's the first thing it went to. I thought it was a movie kind of like Contagion or something. So going into this movie and finding out it was more than just that, that's all I'll say. It was so refreshing because you're on the edge of your seat and you're like, when's everything gonna pop off? But while you're waiting for that moment, you're not entertained. You are completely entertained. You find a lot of fun humor out of these characters. There's two families in this film that you don't know if you love them or if you hate them. You're very much intrigued by them, and you don't know how to feel, and you're torn throughout this entire movie. But not only that, but the pacing is so well executed. You feel like the editor behind this movie has done this his entire life, and there's not a moment where anything drops, there's not a moment where anything drags. It's just a fluid movie. You'll see a contrast between each family and the way that they're shot and the way that they're composed, in terms of how their home lives are, and those contrasts will kind of communicate with each other a certain message about the movie and the deeper themes about this movie. And it's just perfect. The lighting is perfect. The actors in choice are perfect. Like I said, I have a lot of insecurities about saying Korean names, so I won't say them, but I'll put them down here. But they're all perfect. I think the cast in this is amazing, and it's fun because I've seen them in Korean dramas before, so they're well-known actors and actresses. But yeah, go check out Parasite when you can. That's all I'll say. So, number 4.
How you doing, Holly? How's it going? How are you?
Good Pesach out.
All right, Larry, you're a Jew again. Welcome back.
I made a crazy risk, a gamble, and it's about to pay off.
Now this next movie on my list, I don't get what the Academy is looking for. I really don't anymore. I don't. I don't get it. You know, there's a standard drama. There's a standard based on a true story. There's the war film. There's the classic musical biopic. And, you know, these are all here. These are all present. And those movies existed in 2019. But this movie that I'm gonna talk about, it's a performance-driven film. It's from an actor. You don't expect a lot of performances like this from this specific person, but he came to play hardball, and he got nothing. He didn't get a cup. He didn't get a ring. He didn't win nothing. He didn't get recognized for shit. And I think that is a travesty, and that is for uncut gems. What the fuck, Academy Awards? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
But don't you take the easy way out.
What easy way? There is no easy way. No matter what I do, somebody gets hurt.
Would you stop thinking about what everyone wants? Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
Not even a Best Director nod for the Safdie brothers? Nothing? Well, I'm still gonna watch you, but I'm not gonna like it. In fact, I'm gonna be doing this the entire time. Yeah. How do you like them apples, huh? Uncut Gems is one of those movies where you feel disgusted the entire time. You don't understand why this man, Howard, well, that's his name, but I almost forgot the actor's name because I got so lost in the character. Adam Sandler as Howie in this movie is just so frustrating, but so intriguing. You can't stop watching this character, and you wonder why. This whole movie has this grainy feel to it. Maybe it's the sharp contrast in the movie and the way that it's edited and color graded to feel grimy, but it's not even that. But also, I'll lend it to the cinematographer as well. The shots are frantic, they're close, everything is just crowding the frame. You feel like you can't breathe, you feel claustrophobic, you feel like Adam Sandler's character is how he thrives on this environment. You feel like he walks through the streets and he knows everyone because he's fucked with them, or he's fucked with people they know, or he owes them something. It's just this experience that you get. It's so visceral, and you can't sit down easy knowing that this guy is existing with all this debt on him. You can't sit comfortably knowing that your protagonist is making so many mistakes that you know eventually they're gonna come back to bite him in the ass. But that's what the Safdie brothers thrive on. If you haven't seen their previous film, Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson, you just know that they know how to elevate drama. They know how to elevate the stakes. They know how to take the stakes and say, hey, can we squeeze some more stakes in this? Well, fuck yeah, we can. We got time. We got, what, 45 more minutes until the movie's ending? Hey, screw it. We'll squeeze something in 10 minutes before the movie ends. And it will still make sense, and it will still be compelling, and you won't lose the audience, because the audience is just hoping that the protagonist will get their shit together at the end. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. You gotta see. Adam Sandler is magnificent in this movie. He is stellar, and all the actors in this movie don't feel like actors. And I think that's a really great selling point for the Safdie brothers, that they find these people that feel like real people. They feel like they actually went to the Diamond District in New York and grabbed these people off the street and said, hey, can you read some lines with Adam Sandler? And they said, fuck yeah, I've been doing this my whole life. I actually know how to do this. And it feels real, feels raw, and Adam Sandler feels like such a part of this world. He doesn't feel like he's out of place at all. You don't feel like you're watching The Waterboy or Happy Gilmore. You feel like you're watching a completely different performance from him that you've never seen before. And I know he has done other movies where he showed his dramatic chops, but this movie in particular is so specific to him, and I feel like he was the only guy ever that could pull it off. So yeah, Uncut Gems is a movie I really adored. By the way, Kevin Garnett, fantastic actor. I was blown away. I was not expecting a performance like that out of Kevin Garnett, and there it was. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's gonna get an Academy Award or anything like that, but he should be recognized for being better at acting than LeBron and Michael Jordan. Basically, the best NBA actor, which I don't know if there's an award for that. I don't know if the ESPYs recognize that, but yeah, it's something. Now, the movie is no Waterboy, it's no Big Daddy, it's no Click, it's no Jack and Jill. It's more attuned to a Punch Drunk Love more than anything else, but at the same time, it's not at all. The only thing that has in common is that Adam Sandler is trying something outside of comedy and trying something outside of the character who could care less, or the guy who's too cool for school, who's the smartest guy in the room. This is something entirely different. This is a very vulnerable Adam Sandler, and I think it's very special for that reason, and it's why it's one of my favorites of this year, and it's why it kind of pushes above Parasite, because it's something that I was anticipating, like highly anticipating. I was anticipating Parasite, but these 4 movies were movies I was anticipating even more, and they delivered, and I think that's kind of what it built up as my favorite, so whatever. So that's my number 4. Onto my number 3. Onto my number 3.
JJ, it's game night. You should be stretching out.
Yeah, what is he, a coach?
Nah, he's just a fucking crazy ass Jew.
Oh my god, the melatonin is killing me right now. My number 3 movie is One Cut of the Dead.
ここね、表向きは浄水場として作られたんだけど、裏ではある実験に使ってたんだって。
ある実験？
人体実験。
This movie is directed by Shinichiro Ueda. I don't know any of his other films. I'm kind of being introduced to Japanese movies a little bit more as I get into movies a bit more. Shoplifters is another movie that I need to catch. It's a movie that came out last year. It's not the same director, so I don't know why. I'm only associating because the only Japanese content I used to consume was anime. So I need to open up my eyes a little bit more. That's not an Asian joke. I just really need to open up my eyes. The basic premise of this movie is that there is a zombie film being shot by this independent crew of less than 6 people. And while the zombie film is being shot, an actual zombie outbreak takes place while they're filming the movie. And that is all I will say about the movie. I suggest you go watch it. I know it's on Shudder right now, which is the horror film or horror series streaming service, and I don't think a lot of people have that. I don't have it. I found it on Amazon Prime, Amazon Prime. This is not a plug for Amazon Prime, but what the fuck are you doing if you don't have it? But I found it on Amazon Prime. I think I rented it for like $4.99, which to a lot of you guys might be a little bit heavy, but I really wanted to see this movie and I really wanted to talk about it with other people. I know I'm not talking about it much with you guys right now, so fuck me, right? But yeah, it's available. You just gotta look for it. But I don't think it'll disappoint you guys. If you have trouble reading subtitles, well, what? I mean, who doesn't go on Netflix and instantly turn on subtitles? You're a liar if you don't. So yeah, that's the only issue you might have, but the actors in this film are spectacular. There are some themes in this movie that you wouldn't expect just knowing the premise alone, but when you go into it and you realize all the work that's going behind getting these shots involved and how many different layers of filmmaking are actually being done in each of these shots, it's mind-blowing. It's like, I wish I could talk about it. Go see it. Man, this movie is a filmmaker's wet dream of a movie. Not that I'm a filmmaker, but I do really love watching behind the scenes of movies, and I really love seeing the work that goes behind the camera. It's just so exhilarating, so exciting to watch. I bet it's dreadful to actually be behind the camera and to set up everything, but the payoff is amazing. And this movie it's like a love letter to movie making in a lot of ways. So, One Cut of the Dead. So, number 2.
Tell me, what's a timberman want with being a wiki?
Just looking to earn a living, just like any man. Starting new.
On the run.
Now for this movie, I was sold. And the trailer came out for this movie. Robert Eggers, he directed The Witch, or The Vivitch, and that movie was spectacular. It subverted all my expectations of what a horror film was and what I thought it was, and it changed the game for me of what horror can be. I'm not a huge horror fan, but that was one of the movies where I was like, this is different. This feels a lot more akin to, I would say, The Exorcist, where the real horror is in what is happening around the character, not necessarily what jumps up in front of the character or makes a loud noise and pisses yourself. Like, it's just, it really changed the game for me. And I wasn't expecting this movie to be necessarily a horror film, this being his second big picture movie. He's done other films, but this is his second biggest feature film. And this cast, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, that kind of sold me on the movie too, because I was like, Robert Pattinson is an actor that I think is completely underrated and underlooked. I know he's getting way more recognized now. He's going to be in the next Christopher Nolan movie. So the guy, it's not like he is underappreciated. People recognize his talent. But I think he gets a lot of flack for his work in the Twilight films or whatever. And Willem Dafoe is just an actor's actor. Like, he is the guy who will do a part, and he'll do it because he loves the craft so much. This movie in particular, I was really looking forward to. I was convinced it was my #1 movie of the year. I was convinced that it would be my #1 movie of the year before even seeing it, because I am a little bitch for black and white movies. I am a little bitch for that look, for dark shadows, and maybe it's because I'm colorblind. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I don't have to do any extra work to see what I'm seeing. I know it's black and white, and I know there's some gray in between. Just like the justice system. But besides the black and white, the 1 to 1.19 ratio, I think that's what it is. Basically, it's almost identical to the Instagram 1-to-1 ratio. But while you're watching it, there's a purpose behind all of that. You might think that using black and white and doing a 1 to 1.19 ratio is pretentious, but the way that Robert Eggers films this, and the way that he sets up shots, and the way that he enhances the performances out of the actors with this framing, it feels intentional and it feels purposeful, and it doesn't feel like it's there to just be showy. there is a reason behind it. And I think that's what I really love about this movie and why it's my number 2 spot. I think that this movie is spectacular because Robert Eggers knows how to capture an era, not just through its language, but through the way it's dressed and through the way that it's shot. It makes you really feel like you're watching a movie that's outside of this time. And it's like time traveling with his movies. It really feels like he went back, shot a bunch of people and said, hey, you want to film this movie? And they're like, what is that? And he says, it's a camera. Don't worry about it. Just read these lines. And they say, okay. And then he just did it. And he said, all right, thanks. I'm going to go travel back to 2020. And they say, what? And then he's gone. That's what his movies feel like. It feels like you're watching something in a different time period, and not just a period piece where it's a period piece, everyone's dressing all nice, but they're talking about things that are relevant to our day and age. It feels like, oh shit, like he got it. So yes, Robert Eggers is an auteur. As much as he says that he wants to be an auteur, I think he already is, and I think he has all the likings of an auteur director. I think he's going to be up there with being recognized with the likes of David Lynch, with Spielberg, and etc. So, The Lighthouse, a spectacular movie, but didn't make my number 1. And I was surprised, as much as, oh my god, this melatonin is killing me right now. Yeah, that movie surprised the hell out of me. On to my number 1, and I hope to God that I get through this, because while I was saying what I wanted to say about The Lighthouse, I think I was about to fall asleep. So if you guys haven't fallen asleep already, I might just pass out now. So let me just get through number 1, and then I'll let you guys go. You guys are free. You guys can go home. You're probably already home, but you can stick around. Number 1.
In your own time, gentlemen.
Must be something big if the General's here.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
We've got orders to cross here.
That is the German front line.
If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother. I will.
My number 1 film of 2019 is 1917, and you might be thinking, what a basic bitch choice. You mean your grandpa's favorite movie? Maybe it was, but my grandpa passed a long time ago. So thanks for bringing that up, jerk. 1917 is directed by Sam Mendes, starring Dean Charles Chapman and George Mackay. This is gonna be a hard one to get through. I'm seeing into the future right now. 1917 is a movie that takes place during World War I, and it's based loosely off the encounters that Sam Mendes' actual grandfather had during World War I, and all the stories that he would tell Sam when he was younger. And this movie is basically about these 2 young boys played by Dean Charles Chapman and George Mackay, and they have to go to the front line, and they have to send a message that they are about to walk into a trap by the Germans. And it is one of the most exhilarating experiences I've ever had in a movie ever. I watched it in standard format, but I felt like I was watching a movie in IMAX. Now, a lot of people are going to be talking about this movie for one of 2 things. One being the one continuous long take, and the other being the fact that Roger Deakins is behind the camera. Those are going to be the things that are talked about the most, but besides that, and I'm pretty sure other people have talked it to death, but besides that, I want to talk about how this movie, for me, not being a war film fanatic, this movie completely sold me on how to look at a war movie, how to experience a movie. You know, I don't know how to play it out, but while you're watching this movie, you feel like you're there with the boys. You feel like you're in the trenches with them. And it's because it's uncut, or meant to feel like it's uncut. You're experiencing war from a perspective of two guys, two young men who have such a huge weight on their shoulders. And while they're talking to each other, while they're discussing this, the whole weight and the stakes of what they need to do is with you the entire time. There's no break, there's no cut, there's nothing to kind of dispel you from the story that is happening right now. And you're in the moment with them. And a lot of people might say, oh, yeah, this movie does show that, but it's not a real war movie. It doesn't show you the real horrors of war. I mean, every person that has been in war probably has their own unique experience, but I feel like this experience is loosely based off real experiences, so you can't really define what a war film is. And I think this movie is unique in its own way. It's a movie that's going to be compared to Dunkirk in a lot of ways, because it's two huge directors with their take on what a war film would be. And it's going to have a lot of comparisons to Birdman for how fluid the shot is, how fluid this continuous take is. And you know, people might say that it's not as perfect or it's not as seamless, but I don't think that's really the point of this movie. There was actually another movie that came out and that I really liked, and it didn't make my honorable mentions, it didn't make my top 10, but it's a movie I really enjoyed. That movie was Ford vs. Ferrari, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna place 1917 kind of in the same category where it's your dad's movie of the year, it's your grandpa's movie of the year. It's a movie that appeals to a certain audience. But when you watch this movie, you watch the craft, you watch how expertly shot it is, how they utilize this one-take shot in a way that emphasized the terror of war, the horror of war, of how awful it would be to actually live in that moment without any cut. Because in life and in war, you can't just cut to the next scene, you can't cut to someone else's story. It's just you in the shit at that moment. Not every movie is gonna be Saving Private Ryan. Sometimes it's a smaller story, and I think this movie takes a small story, but it makes it feel huge. And I think that's what's really important, is that all these characters that come in through the movie, all these big stars and all these big names, they're side characters. They're there for a second, they're there briefly, and maybe they're there to get big names on the poster or whatever. But I feel like that was actually kind of smart to do as well, because through life and through war, you're probably going to encounter these huge names that are going to be in history books forever, but you'll just know them in passing, and they'll probably just shrug you off. And especially in war, in a time where all these lives are at stake, you'll probably bump shoulders with these people, but you know, at the end of the day, they don't know you, you don't know them, and they don't owe you anything. And so I think that was kind of an expert move. Maybe it wasn't intentional in that way, but that's kind of how I read it. But yeah, this movie, there's so much to appreciate about it. It's a movie that I wasn't anticipating as much until I saw that trailer in theaters. I saw the trailer online, I was like, yeah, whatever. But then when you see it on the format that it's meant to be seen on, I was watching, I was like, this is a beautiful looking movie. It's incredible. I need to see this. And I usually have no interest in watching war movies, but this one really caught me off guard. And I was sold. And just like this computer, guys, I'm about to pass out. But 1917 is my favorite movie of last year. And I would say The Lighthouse and 1917 are like head to head. But 1917 squeezed it out just a little bit more, because I think it just did more with what film is capable of. And I think it kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit more. And yes, it has all the things that people at the academies love. It's a war movie. It's a movie that's shot by Roger Deakins. It's a movie that is about a certain time period that seems to be very popular. So yeah, guys, it does have all the elements of your stereotypical Oscar movie that people are going to parody and make fun of online, but it's well deserved. I think it's well deserved. I think it was expertly crafted, and everyone who hates on it can eat my poop. I don't know. Whatever. I'm so tired. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I know it was a long time since my last video, but I really do appreciate it if you sat down and watched this. So guys, if you're watching this at night, please have a good night. And if you're watching this in the morning, have a good morning. But most of all, guys, go out to see movies that you're interested in. As much as it is a hassle sometimes to squeeze the time to watch a movie, you can watch so many movies online. You can have access to all these fantastic movies through all these streaming services. Now is the best time to be a movie watcher and a movie lover. So no excuses. Like I said, no excuses for me not to catch those movies, which I will catch. We're done. So like always, guys, I will see you later.